Hi, Prince and Tigers. In the video yesterday, we talked about the concept of slope and what slope is of a line, and the slope interpreted as the steepness of a line. And today we're going to talk about how to find the slope of a line. So record these notes down on your paper. When we're talking about slope, we're talking about the rate of increase, which is also the rate of change. So either increase or it's the rate of change. It's hard to write, but. So then when we talk about slope, we're going to be talking about the rise over the run. Rise is any vertical change, and then run is horizontal change. And this is the same as the change in y over the change in x. So slope is rise over run, and we're talking about how fast it changes or how fast it increases. Slope can be both positive and negative. So a positive slope is one that increases, so it's going in the positive direction. And like we did in the video yesterday, I always check this by imagining a person all the way at the left side of the line, and he's going to the right. He's going in the positive direction on the coordinate plane. Is he going up the hill or going down the hill? He's going up the hill, so this is a positive slope. A slope can also be negative if it's going in this direction. So if you imagine your person, he would be going down the hill. So he would be decreasing. So a positive slope, you're walking up a hill. A negative slope, you're walking down the hill. So looking at the three graphs, I want you guys to draw these three lines. So the first one should look something like this. It's always good to draw arrows at the end of your line. The second one should look something like this. And then the third one should look like that. So now that you've drawn those three lines, I want you to identify whether the slope is positive or negative. Looking at number one, if you had somebody on this side of the line going to the right, would they be going up a hill or downhill? They'd be increasing, going up the hill, so this one is positive. What do you think about the second one? Yeah, it's the same thing. If you're going from left to right, it's increasing, so this one is positive as well. Now try the third one. Yeah, this one would be negative, because that person, if you start on the left, because we always need to move in the positive direction, so in this way, it would be a negative slope, because the slope is decreasing. Now we're going to talk about how to find slope, which is what you'll be doing with Ms. Mack today. So as we said at the beginning and we have in our notes, slope is equal to the rise over the run. Rise means vertical change, so this means your up and down change. So rise is any change that's happening either up or down. Our run means side to side. The first thing we need to do when trying to figure out the slope of a line is decide whether it's positive or negative. Is the slope of this line positive or negative? Slope of this line would be positive because he would be increasing or walking uphill. So we have a positive slope. Now we're going to look at our 2 points. We have 1 point right here and 1 point right here. And we're going to say, okay, if I'm going to start at 1 point, you can start at either point. It's usually easier to start at the one to the left. How far do I have to rise and how far do I have to run to get to the next point? Imagine you can only go vertically and horizontally. So you can only go up and down or side to side. So let's go up and down first. Let's figure out our rise. How far do we have to rise? If we rise 1, 2, 3, now we're in line with that next point. So our rise is 3. But then we also have to run 1, 2. So our run is going to be 2. So we need to rise 3 and run 2. So our slope is 3/2. Let's look at another example. Again, we're trying to find a rise over a run, but first we want to identify whether this slope is positive. Is this slope positive or negative? It would be positive because starting at the left, we'd be going up a hill. So we have a positive slope. So now we can look at our rise and our run. Again, we're starting at one point. You can start with either point. I'm going to start with my one down here. We're saying, okay, imagine we're like in a video game and we can only go up and down and then side to side. So I can only go up, 1, 2, how many? 3. So my rise is 3. I know that it's 3 because now I'm in line with that next point. So now imagining that I'm here, how far do I have to run to get to the point? I just have to run 1, so it's 3 over 1. This fraction bar means what? It means division. So we can also write this as 3 divided by 1, which is 3. We'll do one more of identifying the slope. So in this one, first we're deciding whether it's positive or negative. Start our little man over to the left and say, okay, if he's going to the right, is he going up or down the hill? He's going down. So that means our slope is going to be negative. I'm going to write my negative over here so I don't forget. All right, so now we're starting at one point and we're going to the next. I'll start at this point. I now have to rise, so I have to move vertically. And which way am I going to move? Am I going to go up to get to the next point or down? I need to move down, so I'll go down 1, 2, 3. So my rise is 3. Then my run, I have to go horizontal, 1, 2. So my run is going to be 2. So my slope is negative 3 over 2. Now we're going to quickly do some examples where we're drawing a line with a slope of 3/4. Because this question doesn't give us any point, we can start wherever we want. So I'll start right here. You can start at any point that you want on the coordinate grid. This is telling us that we need a slope of 3 over 4. Is this slope 3/4 positive or negative? It's positive, so I need to remember that I need to have a positive slope. So what I can do is I can rise, go up 3, and I can go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, to my next point. Now I have 2 points, so I can make a line. See, I rose 3, and then I went right 4. Now I'm just going to check if my slope is positive by drawing my little man. It is, because he'd be going up a hill. So I've drawn my line, which is now really messy, but you can see parts of my line. So the slope, my line right here has a slope of 3/4. The last thing we're going to do is just quickly review two-step equations. So we're trying to get this x by itself. To get that x by itself, we need to undo everything. But first we want to start with what's furthest from the x, or what's not close to the x. So I have my minus 2. I'm going to undo that by doing plus 2 on both sides. Minus 2 plus 2 ends up with 0. So I'm just left with 5x. And on the other side of the equation, I'm left with 15. For this next equation, what do I need to do first? I can subtract 1 on both sides of the equation. I'm left with 4x equals 8. What operation do you need to do now? You need to divide. You're left with x equals 2. Go ahead and do the last equation independently. If you're still feeling confused about slope, that is fine. You're going to be doing the exact same stuff with the Miss Mac. This is just an introduction to slope and what it can be.